Hello, hello there, my friends. Welcome back. Don't want to be blasting your ears off. Sorry about that. Just got back from the scene of a standoff in my area, close to my area anyway. A bit of a drive, but not too far. And boy, am I glad that I got everything prepared to do this live stream beforehand because I don't think I would have had time. Yes, police standoff in our area. Pretty crazy. Anywho. Welcome to the channel. My name's Gavin. Thanks for being here in this little true crime community of ours here on my channel. We like to cut through the nitty-gritty, cut through to the nitty-gritty of true crime. And today we are talking about the four young University of Idaho students who were brutally murdered by this dill hole right here, a guy named Bryan Kohberger. We're not gonna look at him all that much. The victims were Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, and Kylie Gonsalves. What we have all we've done it for a long time, the Idaho Four. Though I hope that that's something that I guess the family is okay with that title, because I think they all four were close friends, and I don't know. I didn't want to be insensitive. Anywho, tonight we're going to be going over a couple of the things that have. There's Sandy Greenberg. Hang on a second. Ah, got a bit of a news break in the Bryant, no, in the Ellen Greenberg case here, guys. Let's see. Looks like I'll do this at the end, but looks like we got some good news out of Ellen Greenberg. Okay. Let me. I don't like my bell going off all the time when I'm doing this, so I'm going to do that. There we go. Okay. So what we're going to focus on today is Mr. Kohberger. A couple of articles that I want to share with you if you haven't seen them. One of them's several days old, one of them's a couple days old. But before we do, yesterday we went through some of the images that were released in the from a public information request. And this image came up as a question. I want to thank Kelsey for being an amazing volunteer and going through so much stuff. So awesome. But she found the answer to our question here. We were wondering about these footprints here. Could they possibly have been made by a police officer putting up the cordon tape, or somebody else? Somebody in the comments said that it didn't snow that night. Well, as we talked about yesterday, there are like 350 reports that were released. Let me just come over to this report. Again, thanks to Kelsey for finding this. This is the supplemental report number 4 that came in on November 13th of 2022 at 6:59 p.m. Okay, the narrative. On 11/13 at about 12 p.m., I responded to 1122 King Road for the report of an unresponsive subject. Upon my arrival, I noticed there were several college-age subjects out front of the address. I was directed to use police caution tape to cordon off the crime scene. As I was working around the residence, I noticed the back door was open and there were footprints in the snow coming from the back door on the back porch. Officer Smith took photos of these prints with a measuring tape. He watched the backyard area to make sure no one else came into the area. I noticed there were a few footprints that left toward the west of the backyard. This portion of the backyard is connected to two other residences, 1118 and 1126, both directly to the west. The footprints appear to lead west toward King Road between the residences, but I was unable to see where the footprints went after the yards connected due to the amount of rock landscaping. I was also unable to discern how old these prints were. There had not been recent snowfall. So I think that's the answer to our question. Were these made by police? No, these were already there. Now keep in mind, I haven't checked the temperature, but if you look at these prints, that snow does not look fresh to me. In fact, it looks very icy. So those could be old. It maybe there was no recent snowfall, but there was still snow on the ground from the previous snowfall, and it had iced up. And I do see, like in the concrete, it does look like there are salt marks. I don't know if that's the design. No, it's stamped concrete, it looks like to me, but there are salt marks there. So maybe they just didn't put enough snow melt out there. Could just be footprints from the kiddos, could be from the students, from our victims, from their roommates, or from other people. But it does not appear that that was the police. Could have been Koberger. Could have been. I'm thinking not, though, because it does seem a little icy. Anyway, I wanted to bring that to you because we talked about that last night. Okay, come with me if you will. I think I want to start in reverse chronological order. This is an article from The Independent. Um, it says Bryan Kohberger prepared for quadruple Idaho murders. Expert was set to testify. He didn't just Google these cases. I found this extremely interesting. Of course, I think we all know that Mr. Kohberger was prepared. And by the way, I saw in the comments that people get upset when I say Mr. Kohberger or Mr. Stearns or Ms. Soto or whatever. I just like to stick with the decorum of the court, okay? I'm not giving him any extra undue or any at all respect. I am just calling him Mr. Kohberger because that is the way the officers, the investigators, the lawyers, the everybody. So I just like to keep it that way. If you're really upset that you think that I'm giving him some sort of respect, this channel probably isn't the channel for you, and that's okay. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Okay, but anyway, uh, I think we all believe that Mr. Kohberger did indeed prepare for this. Let's read this. At 2:54 a.m. on November 13th, 2022, Bryan Kohberger's phone went dark. The battery hadn't died, and it wasn't randomly powered off. It was silenced with precision. Wi-Fi and cellular data were disabled, no location tracking on, and no background activity. A deliberate blackout during the exact window prosecutors say 4 University of Idaho students were brutally murdered at their off-campus home. 2 hours later, 4:48 a.m., the phone turned back on. It would be months before investigators fully understood what the gap in activity meant. I think they understood it, but you used a qualifier fully. Okay, fair enough. But to the digital forensic experts tasked by prosecutors with retracing Kohberger's steps for evidence to be used against him in his trial, the silence spoke volumes. We've talked about this on the channel, by the way. What we learned is he prepared. Heather Barnhart, Senior Director of Forensic Research at Cellebrite, told The Independent. Cellebrite, everybody, I'm sure you already know this, but for those of you who don't, Cellebrite is a company that makes a software, let's call it a software product, also called Cellebrite, that is used by the vast majority of forensic investigators to do forensic examinations on digital devices. So this is a person that works at Cellebrite, Heather Barnhart, told The Independent. Barnhart and her colleague, Jared Barnhart, head of CX strategy and advocacy at Cellebrite, also a digital forensic expert on the case, were slated to testify at Kohberger's trial before he unexpectedly accepted a plea deal admitting to the November 2022 quadruple murders and receiving life without parole in July. Kohberger was sentenced to life in prison for the murders of Kaylee Gonsalves, Madison Mogen, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, who were found stabbed to death on November 13th of 22 in the small town of Moscow, Idaho. Now, digital silence, a red flag. Now, we've talked about this on the channel multiple times. Barry Morphew is the one that comes to my mind right now that is the most obvious one, right? Goodness, I'm blanking. Hold on. What is the other one? There's Barry Morphew, where he did the exact same thing. I'm blanking, doesn't matter, okay? But this is a digital red flag, and I've actually covered trials locally here in Western Pennsylvania where digital forensic experts have said the same thing. The fact that the suspect, in this case, the convicted defendant, um, turned off his cell phone, did his nefarious deeds, and then turned it back on is actually an indication that there was pre-planning, right? Okay. Now, as more details began to trickle out through previously sealed police reports and court documents, the team is revealing to The Independent what they learned about the killer through his digital footprint. The Cellbrite team had uncovered files scrubbed from devices, searches routed through VPNs, and deep downloads about serial killers, all of which they say painted a chilling picture of obsession and planning. By the way, guys, okay, listen. Do we need to bring out Uncle Gavin? It's been a while since Uncle Gavin has come out. Uncle Gavin here, okay? Dear would-be mass or serial murderers, okay? When you use a VPN, you are doing what I would classify as an external covering of your tracks, okay? What you are doing is you are routing through an encrypted private network, whatever it is that all the things that you want to see, right? So yeah, that's definitely that's going to help you cover your tracks. However, even if you were in private mode and even if you're using a VPN, everything that you do on your phone, almost down to the keystroke, is logged in a database, very small database. And in iOS, for example, when I go through old iOS versions, I mean, there are hundreds of simple SQL tables in different parts of your phone. Okay. Now, what am I teaching you here? I'm teaching you that one, people are going to find out what you did. Okay. And two, don't be a dill hole. Just don't do the bad things. Okay? Just don't do the bad things. And then we won't have to go through these things. I don't want to give away everything, but that is what happens, okay? It's just there. You can reset your phone and there are still things left over. There's still artifacts left over, okay? Don't be a dill holio. Just, be kind to people. Okay. While DNA from the knife sheath ultimately tied Kohberger to the crime scene, it was the voids in his otherwise trackable life that revealed how the killings were premeditated, the experts say. Yeah, that tiny little bit of DNA, that's what got him. But yeah, this is terrific. Forensic analysis revealed that Kohberger's phone had only four periods of total inactivity dating back to June of 2022. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. 6 months. November, right? So in 6 months, that had only happened 4 times. One of those silent moments occurred on the night of the murders. He didn't just lose signal or run out of battery, Jared explained. This was an actual button press, power off on purpose, and then a power back 2 hours later. And in the middle of that, 4 people were killed. Kohberger was no stranger to killings in theory. Now, somebody said last night that they thought that this wasn't the first time for Mr. Kohberger. I'm not sure that I agree with that, but I don't think I disagree with it either. I don't know. As a criminology PhD student at Washington State University, Kohberger had long been immersed in the study of crime. But according to the digital forensics team, his interest crossed a line from academic to obsessive. Quote, he didn't just Google these cases, Heather said. He downloaded full PDFs of case files, not once, but repeatedly. He was downloading detailed reports on serial killers, including Danny Rolling, who also murdered college students using a similar knife. By the way, note to self, Gavin, future Gavin, you probably look like a serial killer in your digital life. The amount of stuff that you have, but yeah, maybe Maybe tone it back a bit, Gavin. Okay. This wasn't casual browsing, this was meticulous research, she added. To determine exactly what happened during that 2 hour window on the night of the murders, the Cellbrite team recreated the digital environment and studied call logs. Oh, they recreated the digital environment and they studied call logs. Okay. Turning off your phone isn't enough, Heather said. You have to disable Wi Fi, disable cellular, then power down. And that's what he did. They discovered that in the days right before and right after the murders, Koberger disabled Wi Fi access on his devices and routed his traffic through NordVPN, a tool designed to anonymize online activity. While the act is not criminal, it is abnormal, Jared noted. Again, dang it. I, I do these things. Okay. He was diligent in prep and cleanup and made our job really hard, Jared said. This is someone who really tried hard to not be detected. And I agree with investigators. This isn't stuff that normal people do. Um, there has to be a reason for it. And anyway, but Koberger failed to do a full cleanup of his phone. Details of what the team found, including scrubbed files, private browsing, VPN activity, and obsessive downloads about other serial killers, were found hidden deep in his phone, not in a visible gallery or standard folder, but in buried file directories that required forensic tools to uncover. He had also downloaded reports on the Idaho murders and extensive searches of his victims. The team pointed out that despite law enforcement's hard work, there was a period of time, there's a quote, from the time that the crime happened until identifying and arrest, the phone seizure, and then the phone extraction, close quote, so some of the best information was most likely wiped. But with time and attention, we were able to paint a picture of what he did on this night, Jared added. Even though some of the best stuff wasn't there, he certainly didn't cover all his tracks. Koberger's digital footprint also included a passive log of Wi Fi networks his phone sought out. On the night of the murders, before his phone was turned off, his phone was searching for Wi Fi signal and he wasn't at home, Jarrett said. And while motive and any connection between Koberger and the victims remains completely unknown, to the frustration of the victims' families, there is some digital evidence that showed Koberger may have encountered at least one of the victims previously at their workplace. Madison Mogan and Xana Kernodle worked at a local restaurant, the Mad Greek, as servers before Koberger murdered them. After the killings, a fellow employee said they remembered Koberger visiting it twice and eating vegan pizza. So, one Wi Fi log caught Heather's attention when she was searching his digital footprint, the network name for the Mad Greek. Though nothing concrete tied him to the location at the time of the murders, the Wi Fi log suggested that he had been there before, possibly more than once. There it was, Heather confirmed. His device had passively logged that network. Okay, no smoking gun. Unlike the DNA on the knife sheath found at the scene, the digital evidence didn't deliver one big aha moment, the team said. Instead, it emerged slowly through fractured call logs, gaps in data, and strange behavioral shifts. There wasn't a single smoking gun, Jared said, but we found that the digital evidence told the story of preparation. DNA can tell you who did it, he added, but the digital evidence showed us intent. And that's what we were going to testify to. Heather emphasized that proving intent required building a baseline of normal digital behavior and then watching how it drastically changed leading up to the crime. If you can prove normal behavior and then go, whoa, this is completely abnormal, and that moment aligns with the crime, well, that's not an accident. And that's what the periods of silence showed. Okay. His relationship with his mother. While much of Koberger's activity pointed to calculated isolation, one relationship remained steady, his connection to his parents. Starting at 6:13 a.m. the morning after the murders, he's calling and texting his mom and dad nonstop, Heather said. It was incessant, but it was also one of the only things he did that matched his normal behavior. Even in the weeks leading up to the killings, Koberger's digital communications showed few signs of friends or peer connections. Jared recalled seeing only one other contact, a classmate, briefly engaged in a group chat. All other correspondence was to who Koberger called mother, father, and sister. I find that a little weird. Well, maybe I'm the weird one though. Like in my phone I just use names. I don't have father. I don't have dad for my dad. I don't have mother or mom for my mother. I just have everybody's names. Am I weird? Okay. The moment we started to look at the messaging, it made me think of the Bates Motel, Jared said, referencing the horror movie Psycho. I mean, it was like mother and the label mother, the constant contact with his mom. It was wild. On December 29th, the day before his arrest, Koberger began calling and texting his parents obsessively, just as he had on the morning of the murders. If his mom didn't answer, he'd call his dad, they said. The same day, Koberger searched items like paranoid, psychopath, and wiretapping. It was obviously weighing on him, Heather noted. The contact with his mother continued after his arrest, with inmates at Ada County Jail reporting that that he that while he was locked up waiting to hear his fate, he spent hours on the phone with his mother. That reminds me a little bit of somebody else we know. Mr. Stephen Stearns, man. Um, Described by other prisoners as effing weirdo, inmates said he, quote, would wash his hands dozens of times each day and would spend 45 minutes to an hour in the shower, court documents stated. Koberger's mother and sister were present during his sentencing. At one point during the victim impact statements, his mother broke down in tears. The only time Koberger spoke at the hearing was to respectfully decline the opportunity to address the court or reveal why he committed the gruesome crimes. We didn't find the why, but we found the how. Despite their exhaustive efforts, the forensic team never found a true why. We didn't find the why, Heather admitted. We wanted to for the families, and it was frustrating, but we found the how. And the how, they say, suggests it wasn't spontaneous. This wasn't someone who just snapped, Heather added. This was someone who planned. He didn't accidentally stumble into his house and commit this heinous crime. It was intentional. And I thought that was a terrific article out of The Independent. Once again, let's see, who's it written by? It is written by, it doesn't say, Brian Koberger. It's titled Brian Koberger Prepared for Quadruple Idaho Murders. Expert was set to testify. He didn't just Google these cases. Okay, the last article that I want to show you is a little shorter. Idaho police call out gross inaccuracies in Koberger TV special prosecutor investigating leaks by Adam Sabes or Sabes, I don't know, from Fox News. This is from August 6th. Police in Idaho claim that a television special episode on Brian Koberger's quadruple murder case contained gross inaccuracies and complete falsehoods. Koberger pleaded guilty. Yes. Okay, we got that. Brian Koberger was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole for the 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. After the sentencing in July, Judge Stephen Hippler lifted the gag order, preventing any individual involved in the case from speaking to the media. By the way, they've also unsealed a lot of stuff, including those images. Kelsey, my volunteer on my team, has taken it upon herself to do the public records request to see if we can get those for you. Okay. In May, NBC's Dateline ran a special episode on the Koberger case, which included several pieces of new information that hadn't yet been made public. FBI cell phone tower data obtained by Dateline allegedly showed that Koberger's cell phone pinged nearly a dozen times to a tower that provides coverage to an area within 100 feet of the King Road house where the 4 students were killed. The late night drives all allegedly took place starting in July of 2022 and continued through mid-August 2022. According to the report, the late night drives in the area of King Road house began following a Moscow pool party that Koberger had been invited to. FBI cell phone records also indicated that Koberger was within 100 meters of the King Road house on 23 occasions, including one time on November 7th. All the trips were after dark. The Dateline special also claimed a white Hyundai Elantra resembling Koberger's was seen turning onto King Road several times on the morning hours of November 13th, 2022, when the murders happened. However, Idaho State Police Lieutenant Daryl Gilbertson, who is the lead investigator on the Koberger case, told the Idaho Statesman that Dateline got some of their facts wrong. Okay, but we've seen those videos. He did turn on to the street several times. Okay, quote, there were some gross inaccuracies and just complete falsehoods, Gilbertson said. Dateline reported that the wounds on Chapin were carved, but Gilbertson said that wasn't the case. I mean, okay. So not really a news program, but a crime. I wouldn't call them a news program. I'm not putting them down. But it's not straight factual news. So they used a descriptive word, the descriptive verb carved, but Gilbertson says that's not. I don't find that beyond the pale. There was a strike to the back of his leg, Gilbertson said. None of us believe or concluded that there was any other purpose or that he was doing something ritualistic or anything like that. I think it's simply a strike to make sure that Ethan was not going to come after him. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to quibble. I'm a professional quibbler because I recently had a conversation with, let's see, I want to keep, it was off the record, so I'm going to be very, very vague, but with, let's say, an official who was taking issue with some of my reporting. He wouldn't call it reporting, and in truth, it wasn't straight reporting. It was more like Dateline reporting. It was, anyway, doesn't matter. He took issue with it and said that my articles read in a way that I do not agree with. They did not read that way. So it seems to me like Detective or Lieutenant Gilbertson is just quibbling with the word carved and saying that this has to do with something ritualistic. And I don't I don't see any I don't see any ritualism in the word carved. But I mean there could be, but anyway. I think it was simply a strike to make sure that Ethan was not going to come after him. Gilbertson also said Koberger didn't sit down in Kernodle's bedroom out of exhaustion, as Dateline reported. Completely false, made up, no idea where that came from. Gilbertson said he did not sit down in a chair anywhere in the house. Huh. Okay, well, I'm curious what the reports are going to tell us. Dateline also reported that Koberger's main target was Mogan, but Gilbertson said it's unclear if she or Gonsalves was the intended target. Gilbertson said the Dateline special did get some components correct. He said that Koberger did use his cell phone to search for serial murderer Ted Bundy and also searched for corn, searching for terms sleeping, passed out, and drugged. All that is pretty accurate. There were searches related to corn, but it wasn't extensive, Gilbertson said. There was not anything that led us to believe, okay, he has some type of desire behavior that's driving this. But we also know that he deleted and wiped a lot of his devices, so we obviously don't know what he wiped or what wasn't there. Latah County Prosecutor Bill Thompson said a special prosecutor has been appointed to investigate where the leaks came from. There is a special prosecutor, and I can tell you that we are not included or privy to what the investigation is doing, nor is the defense, is my understanding, nor is Judge Hippler, Thompson said. It's being overseen completely independently, and whatever the investigation is doing is confidential. That's what we were instructed by the judge. In a private statement to the in a statement to the Idaho Statesman, an NBC spokesperson said the network stands by its reporting. Okay. So, I mean, I think what we get out of this, the main thing that I want to get out of this is that I think that and this is no surprise to anyone, right? But that Koberger was indeed trying to be another Ted Bundy, which is sick. Just absolutely sick. Let me go ahead and refresh real quick. And I'm sorry, guys, I am going to kind of rush through this tonight because I have to get back out to where I was before. Um, so let's start here. My hair is getting long. Thank you. It is getting so long. It is so hot. I'm always sweaty. I do not like it one bit. I'm to the point where I can kind of have a ponytail now, but I'm doing it in order to donate the hair. It's a personal mission of mine to be able to do this while I still have hair. You can see my hairline is going back. I'm 50. I guess that's what happens to 50-year-olds. Um, let's see. Yeah, Stearns is exactly who I was thinking of, Susan. Yep. So if you clean your internet browser history, it's still saved somewhere. Yeah, it is. Uh, yeah, it is. I mean, I can't say that with a certainty for all operating systems, but for a few, I know, yes, that your private browsing is logged. Yeah, the whole thing. Yes. So I mean, look, I don't want this to be a how to get away with murder kind of thing because that really would just fly in the face of what it is that I'm trying to accomplish. But um there are some criminals out there that are extremely smart. If you go to my website and check the Shelby Thornburg, let me go here real quick. Uh Baby Gavin is still missing, everybody. Baby Gavin is still missing. Play the treasure hunt. Should be fun. If we go to cases and we go down to Shelby right here, I want to be very careful because I don't want to show some things. Hang on just one second. Uh, Only because of YouTube. Um, Let me go to, let's see. Think. Well, okay. If I'm not gonna show it because this page is pretty darn graphic. But if you go to this page, you will see that the assailant for Ms. Thornburg had had been extremely smart about his communication and the cell phone that he used. Now, this was in 2015, but still really smart. So there are some criminals out there that are quite intelligent, and and Koberger just happens not to be one of them. I think that Ted Bundy, if he were alive in this day and age, his crimes would be different, but he would have been smart enough to do this. I don't think that Koberger is. Um, but yeah, Garth B. Nutt, in regards to your question, the Shelby Thornburg case is a very good case to look at because that guy was just really smart. Um, Striving for Titus says, I have mommy for her contact, even though I have grandchildren now. She's the only one labels that way. I think it depends on the relationship. Yeah, or just the way that you organize things. I, I I'm a guy who likes things orderly. I like them organized, and so I just put my mother's name in there. Okay, maybe I'm the weird one. Maybe I'm the weird one. Cooler by the Lake says maybe I'm weird, but I had mom and dad listed as such in my phone, but my siblings were listed by name. Okay, yeah, maybe I'm the weird one. I think I am. Cindy Lou Hoot, Gavin, have you watched any of the videos of Chris Watts and his mother and sister prison calls? I have seen a couple of those. Yes, yes. Dateline is as authentic as reality shows. Yeah, Dateline is an entertainment thing. So while they do have journalistic standards, but they are not the straight AP style news, is what I'm getting at. I don't think it's like a reality show. I do think they're a couple steps above that, though I understand what you're saying, striving for Titus. But they are an entertainment platform. Um, Watercolor Dog, Gavin Man Bun. Yeah, it's not quite long enough yet. Mooney, tell us the Ellen good news, please. Okay, give me a second here, guys. Let me come over here. Let's bring up a picture of Ellen. Okay. This case is extremely important to me. I haven't done a full-blown video on Ellen in quite a while, not probably since February. But this is an extremely important case to me. Um, I, I guess I don't need to add anything, but here's what's been happening. Okay, in February, the Greenbergs settled with, I want to say, the city of Philadelphia, but it's really former employees of the city of Philadelphia, though they were defended by lawyers employed by the city of Philadelphia. Okay, and the settlement was that the city would pay the Greenbergs an undisclosed sum, plus they would do an expeditious review of Dr. Osborne. I don't know if this is going to show up. No, Dr. Osborne's button isn't working, but of Dr. Osborne's autopsy. They would do so expeditiously and then see if they come to a different conclusion. That was the settlement, okay? Well, it took until July for Philadelphia, I'm just going to say Philadelphia, to make the payment. They still have not done the quote unquote expeditious review. Now, just a couple weeks ago, the Greenbergs attorneys, here are the Greenbergs, their attorneys filed a motion to compel the city of Philadelphia to do their expeditious review. City of Philadelphia responded with a flippant and what I'm sure Joe Pedraza would call a cute response to the motion, saying, "Hey, we've been in contact the whole time. What?" Right? It was horrible. Okay, the good news that I got from Sandy is that there is an order from Judge Carpenter, and I would show you this, but it's on my phone, so I can't tell you. Now, Judge Carpenter is kind of the boss of, well, she's not, I mean, they're all colleagues, but in this year, she's the boss of the motions, okay? I love Judge Carpenter. She is hard on the city of Philadelphia for very good reason. She seems to come down on the Greenberg side, and Judge Erdos, who was the actual trial judge, didn't seem to. Anywho, so here's the order from Judge Carpenter, and now this 11th day of August 2025, upon consideration of the above captioned motion to enforce, it is hereby ordered that a hearing via Zoom is scheduled for September 3rd, 2025 at 1:30 p.m. Counsel's parties may access the hearing through the court webpage at, and then it gives the calendars, blah, blah, blah. Credentials are also provided below for a direct login. So I will be joining that hearing. I think the good news is that it is in front of Judge Carpenter, and I think that she is going to be extremely hard on the city's attorneys. That's where we are. Okay. Thank you for reminding me to do that. Let's go back over to, I have to find it now. I have so many pages, so many pages. There we go. Let's go back over here. That's a Nope says, "Oh, thank you for the compliment. That's a Nope. I appreciate it. Thanks so much." Patty, you know what happened today, this very day? My wife taught me how to use those clips, to like twist it down here, put it up and clip it. She taught me that this very day. I just look like an idiot when I have so yeah, but yes, when I am alone, I clip it up starting today. You are on the same wavelength as my wife. Jennifer says, Gavin, in my opinion, Maddie Mogan was likely the target, and Casey was unexpected for him. Kaylee. Sorry. Perhaps reason for more injuries. Yeah, am I reading? Yeah. as there may have been a secondary motive. Okay. A couple more. Let's see. Thank you. That's a nope. Let's see. Just for the respect of victims, and please note Baby Gavin videos. Okay. Cindy Lou Hoot. Lord help us if we ever have a bad person without social media, cell phone, or internet footprint. It would be difficult to catch. Actually, now that you say that, there are some friends of mine that, like from high school, I am in touch. I am a person that I guess I'm nostalgic. I'm in touch with everybody, including almost every single girlfriend I ever had from like the seventh grade on. I like them all. They're all, I, and I'm in touch with so many people from high school. If I could describe me in high school, it wasn't that I was a popular. It was that I just had lots of different interests, and so those interests kind of crossed a whole bunch of social barriers. And so I have a lot of old high school friends, but there are a couple of friends uh, that just do not exist in the digital world. I know they are alive because I have friends back home that are friends with them, but there are they have no digital footprint. So I I bet there are people out there, Cindy Lou Hoot, that are very good at hiding their crimes. I bet that is the thing. I bet that is definitely a thing. Okay, hey guys, listen. I have got to go. I've got to skedaddle. I've got to go back out to the scene that I was reporting from a little bit earlier today, do some late night photography. So I got to run. I know that this one isn't as long as we normally have, but I appreciate you spending some time with me here tonight. Please, 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 head on over to my website. Anytime you want to contact me, there's a little button up here that will take you to a form where you can contact me. Also, the fish tank, I noticed this very day, the fish tank on Facebook arrived at 5,200 members exactly. Look at that. 5,200, right? Right there. Not cool? So you have an open invitation to join us on Facebook, and then gavinfish.com is a wealth of information. So head on over there anytime. With that, guys, I will bid you adieu. Thank you very much for spending your time with me tonight. Thank you for your comments. Thanks for your respect and reverence for victims and their families, and for seeking opportunities for learning and personal growth. That's what I am all about. All right. Have I already said it? I bid you adieu. See you on the next one. Take care. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you liked what you saw, please consider subscribing. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below.